Ottis Toole was born on March the 5th, 1947 in Jacksonville, Florida, to parents Bill Toole and Sarah Toole Harley. His father Bill was an alcoholic who shortly abandoned him, while his mother also showed abusive behaviour, often forcing Ottis to dress in girls' clothing whilst calling him Susan, though some reports claim that she referred to him as Becky.
My sister used to dress me up like a little girl and all that too when I was a kid, and she wanted another little sister, so I reckon she dressed me up like a little sister too, that way she had another sister,
Ottis would later claim that the abuse only began when he revealed his homosexuality to his family. But his own story contradicted this claim, as he also stated that he didn't realise he was gay until the age of 10, though reported being forced to have sex with his father's friend at the age of 5.
I had a little bit all kind of childhood. I even been molested by my stepfather and what have you too when I was a kid. When I was still little, when I was about 6 years old. About 6, 7 years old, kept on. Until I got up in age, and then I kept telling him I didn't want to mess with him or nothing like that, so he just kept insisting, and then before my real dad died, I had trouble with him to a certain extent, and so I went through that childhood, about the same thing with him too, and so it wasn't a real pleasant childhood,
He was reportedly a victim of sexual abuse at a young age, being forced into incest by his older sister, as well as other close relatives and acquaintances, even sometimes with their next door neighbour. It was also later reported that his maternal grandmother was a Satanist, who often exposed him to various satanic practices and rituals, including grave robbing.
Devil worship, witchcraft and all that, Buddhist, and she went through a lot of that, and done things with bones and what have you, herbs and what have you too. And so she done a lot of that, She said she could make spirits, with all kind of herbs and what have you, they would do calm down sickness and all that too, in different ways. And used to take a drawer and turn it upside down and worship bones and all that, worship Satan, take it, dress the drawer, take it, turn the bottom side up, put it in there, and put a scarf up there, and put a sword, a knife up there, and cup up there, and bones of a hand or something up there, and a candle and all, and do all kinds of spirits and all.
It was believed that he had a mild intellectual disability with an IQ of only 75, and he did suffer from epilepsy, frequently having grand mal seizures. Once Ottis realised his true sexuality, he began a sexual relationship with a boy in his neighbourhood at the age of just 12, and often ran away from home to sleep in abandoned houses.
Well, I was worked a lot when I was a child, and missed a little bit of everything, when I was a child, So it wasn't really good,
Furthermore, Ottis was a serial arsonist from a young age and found fire sexually arousing.
I wasn't in child molesting, I wasn't in that, and I wasn't in killing kids. I wasn't in none of that. Well, I was in everything else but that, That was only two things I wasn't into.
He dropped out of high school during the 9th grade and began visiting gay bars, claiming to have become a prostitute during his teen years and becoming obsessed with gay pornography.
I really started getting in trouble when I was about 13, 14 years old. And then I really started getting in trouble when I was 13, 14 years old. I started running all the country, going here and going under, and went on a rampage, About 14 on down, on what?
Toole also claimed to have committed his first murder at the age of just 14 when he was propositioned sex by a travelling salesman, claiming to have run him over with his own car, though there's no evidence to corroborate this story.
I seen somebody run over somebody with a car, so they seen me do it, and I was in the car with them. I was in the car with them, I seen them do it, and so one way I could get away from that person, I turned around and run over that person with a car my own self. And so I ended up killing that person with a car, like he was trying to kill me, like he killed the guy in the car. He stabbed the guy to death in the car. And so first I jumped out of the car and run around the car, and he chased me around the car, and I jumped back in the car and I run over his ass with the car. Killed his ass. So that's when the rampage started when I was about 14.
In August of 1965, Ottis Toole was arrested for the first time for loitering, but his actions over the next few years remain a mystery, though it's believed that he drifted around the southwestern United States, supporting himself financially with prostitution and panhandling.
I can't really understand my own self, I can't even understand where I'm coming from, I can't even get my mind together which way I'm going,
On April the 18th, 1974, 24-year-old Patricia Webb disappeared from a store in Lincoln, Nebraska, and her dead body was discovered just 2 days later. Ottis was living in the area at the time, and he was the prime suspect, but there was no evidence to definitively link him to the murder.
I had to take lots of medication now to keep me calmed down. Help me sleep and keep me from hearing different sounds and what have you. I have to take medication all the time. Help me sleep and keep me from hearing things, So all that keeps me calmed down. So I take medication twice a day to keep me calmed down.
Not long after, he left Nebraska and relocated to Boulder, Colorado. And just 1 month later, on October the 14th, 31-year-old Ellen Holman was found dead. Once again, Toole was suspect number one, with several people pointing the finger in his direction, leading to him once again leaving town, but this time deciding to head home.
I've been trying to sort out all of it, get all that calmed down, that's what I've been doing in the past couple of years now, trying to get everything all calmed down, get everything just as close to normal I can get it, but I don't really know if I get my own self to normal. I don't even know what normal is, I don't think. Mine was running wild and everything, I just couldn't stabilize myself.
For months, he drifted through the southern United States before, on January the 14th, 1976, marrying an unnamed woman who was 25 years his senior. However, she discovered his true sexuality and would end up leaving him just 3 days into the marriage. Toole would later claim that he only married her as a way to cover up his homosexuality.
Shooting your next door neighbor, you think you good, this thing might be doing. He might run over in your house one night with a chainsaw. You never tell, Might just go off, run over to your house real quick with a saw in his hand. And just get you pinned up and throw that saw up against you.
It was here when he returned home to Jacksonville and met serial killer Henry Lee Lucas in a soup kitchen, and the duo most likely developed a sexual relationship. On December the 15th, 1980, Ottis Toole murdered 57-year-old father of the county sheriff John McDaniel Sr. with a shot to the head. Just 2 months later, on February the 10th, Geraldine Peoples was violently beaten to death in her home, and on March the 25th, Ruby McCary was shot dead also.
You can't never tell what's going to happen. You can't never tell who's going to do it. You can't never tell who's going to be the person. Who is the person? They might be your best friend. Or they might be kin to you. And they probably go off on you.
On January the 4th, 1982, Ottis Toole barricaded 65-year-old George Sonnenberg inside the boarding house where he lived in Jacksonville and set the building on fire. George would sadly pass away a week later due to the injuries caused by the flames.
Somebody was trying to beat me, and I said, what the hell you think you doing? I turned around and whipped their ass.
In April the following year, Toole was arrested again for an unrelated arson incident, but he then confessed to the previous fire, admitting that he set the building ablaze after he and Sonnenberg, who he claimed he was having a sexual relationship with, got into an argument. While he was awaiting trial, in June, Henry Lee Lucas was arrested for the unlawful possession of a firearm, but this is when he began bragging to people about having gone on a murderous rampage with Ottis Toole.
A rampage. A murder rampage. We just murdered and everybody got in the way, you know. That excites you. But, hell, nobody wouldn't feel sorry for me if I dropped dead right now. I said, good, no dead motherfucker, you know. All these people running around the country, these police and stuff. All these families really feel sorry for this person. I really felt like that person when they did. Had to go to the graveyard and clean off the fucking grave. It's just dead motherfucker out of the family. All these rich people, once somebody's dead, they put up a big front when the person first dies. And then after that, I'd say, I got all that motherfucker's money. Fuck him, you know, he's dead, he's gone, he can't do no good. That's what they say.
At first, Toole denied being involved, but later changed his story and backed up all of Lucas's confessions. He claimed to have accompanied him on 108 murders, sometimes at the request of a cult known as the Hands of Death, though this was largely discredited as no evidence of such a cult actually existing was ever found. On October the 21st, 1983, Ottis Toole confessed to the murder of 6-year-old Adam Walsh in Hollywood, Florida, 2 years earlier, a claim corroborated by Lucas. Adam's mother took him to the Hollywood Mall that day and had left him at a kiosk with some Atari 2600 video games with some other boys while she went inside a store. Once she returned, the boys were nowhere to be seen, and she was advised by security that there was a commotion and they were all asked to leave. And Adam Walsh was never seen again. Ottis Toole claimed that he managed to pick up the young boy from the parking lot by enticing him with candy and toys, but it didn't take long for the child to begin crying. Ottis claimed that he punched Adam in the face, causing even more tears, which led to him walloping Walsh until he was unconscious. Toole's story is that he then pulled the car over and decapitated the child with a machete. He then proceeded to drive around with the boy's head for days, completely forgetting about it. But once he rediscovered it, he discarded it quickly into a canal. This story was corroborated, as Adam's head was sadly discovered in the drainage canal and he was identified. However, despite Ottis Toole's car containing blood-soaked carpet and the murder weapon, the authorities had impounded the vehicle, but somehow at some point, they completely lost the car. Meaning that there was no evidence to link Ottis Toole to this murder, and he couldn't be charged.
You can't stop them knife if they want. If somebody runs out and stabs you, you can't stop that knife. That knife is so deep you won't bleed. If somebody busts your brains out with something, you're going to bleed. Half your head's going to be knocked out. Or you're going to be out cold one or two. You can't ever tell what's going to happen.
Lucas was incredibly compliant and helped officers clear up several unsolved murders, but it became clear that he was renowned for providing several false confessions, having read details of the crimes in police reports to sound convincing. So a lot of these killings were dismissed as his or Toole's responsibilities and remained a mystery. Although others, including Jeffrey Dahmer himself, were suspected of being involved in the murder of Adam Walsh, investigators, as well as Adam's own father, who would go on to host America's Most Wanted in his continued fight for justice, were convinced that Ottis Toole was responsible for his son's murder. However, some still insist on Toole's innocence, as his story constantly changed, from how he enticed Walsh into his car to where or how he disposed of the remains. He also claimed at one point to have discarded the rest of the body in the same canal, but it was never discovered. At certain points, he blamed Lucas for the murder, but Lucas himself claimed that Ottis had confided in him that he had done it himself. In fact, it was actually calculated that if Toole and Lucas did commit all of these crimes, they would have had to use their 13-year-old Ford station wagon to cover 11,000 miles or 18,000 kilometers in a single month, which would be around 370 miles or 600 kilometers per day.
Well, Judge, we just done a little bit of everything, you know. Whatever came along, that's what we're doing, you know. Whatever you done, I was right there, you know. And I reckon if it was right or wrong, I was there, you know. So whatever happened, either way it goes, if I didn't do it, I did do it. The same thing as me doing it, either way it goes, I reckon.
During Toole's trial regarding Sonnenberg, he now suddenly changed his entire story, denying starting the fire, claiming that he only previously confessed in the hopes that he would be extradited back to Jacksonville. Things would only get more bizarre in 1984 when Toole confessed to 2 more murders. One was 18-year-old hitchhiker David Shallot, who was found dead with 5 gunshot wounds on the left side of his head 4 years earlier, and 20-year-old Ada Johnson, who he claimed he kidnapped at gunpoint at a Tallahassee nightclub before shooting her in the head on a road outside of Fort Walton Beach. Several psychiatrists believe that Ottis Toole was extremely impulsive with severe antisocial behaviour due to possible antisocial personality disorder, and was most certainly a pyromaniac. On April the 28th, 1984, Ottis Toole was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. It was later that same year when he was also found guilty of the murder of Ada Johnson the year prior and received a second death sentence. Toole did appeal this decision, and it was then changed to life imprisonment instead. In 1991, he pleaded guilty to 4 more murders in Jacksonville, receiving 4 additional life sentences. In total, he was convicted of murdering John McDaniel Sr., Geraldine Peoples, Brenda Burton, Ruby McCary, George Sonnenberg, and Ada Johnson, all between 1980 and 1983.
I'm in 4 life sentences, and each life sentence is 25 years apiece, and they run separate.
In response to the poor investigation by the police, investigators apologised to the family of Adam Walsh and stated, quote, "If you're looking for that magic wand, that one piece of evidence, it's not there," end quote. On September the 15th, 1996, Ottis Toole passed away from cirrhosis at Florida State Prison at the age of 49. No family members claimed his body, and he was merely buried at Florida State Prison. But the story doesn't end there. On December the 16th, 2008, authorities admitted that there is no new DNA evidence regarding the Adam Walsh investigation, but that all existing evidence points to Ottis Toole. So they officially, after 27 years, decided to now declare him as the murderer and finally close the case. But the cause of this man's rage and the true extent of his crimes is almost impossible to determine due to his compulsive lying and lack of physical evidence left behind. So we're all left with no choice but to continue seeking answers.